you guys, and thank you so much for tuning into my channel. So today I'm going to be showing you the stovetop recipe on how I make her dog food. Do you want to know? Stay tuned. Okay, you guys, so this is one of my most requested videos. I did want to make sure I fed her this for a long time just because she can't talk, so I wanted to make sure that everything was going to be good for her. So for this stovetop recipe, I do it two different ways. I basically do all the ingredients the same. I just change the meat so she has a different flavor, I guess. So today I'm going to be making one recipe with turkey meat and then one with ground beef. Sometimes I do ground chicken. It all depends on what you want to do, what's good for your dog. You could always change and alter any of the recipes at any time for your own dog's liking. She loves this food. She literally loves this food. So I'm not changing the recipe because I already know it's good to go. Unless I want to add in different vegetables or something at a different time. Again, you can tweak it however you would like. But this is me just showing you what I'm using to feed her. If your dog needs more vitamins and nutrients, please make sure you're doing what's best for your own dog. I'm just showing you what I'm doing for mine. For example, I give her this. It's an all-in-one vitamin. It's been approved by her vet. I just pour it all into one container, put 1 teaspoon in here every morning. I just give her 1 level teaspoon, mix it in her food, and she's good to go. So if you want to know how I make this stovetop recipe, here you go. So I started by going to the store and grabbing all the ingredients that I needed for this particular recipe. Once I gathered everything, this is what we will be using for the 2 different recipes. I like to start by cooking the rice first. This will save time in the long run. I do use bottled water and cook it as it's supposed to on the package. I do make 3 cups total and I divide 1.5 cups for each recipe. I then go ahead and start my 2 containers to get all of the vegetables ready. The peas, there's 3 cans total. I rinsed them thoroughly and I used 1.5 cans per recipe. I'm going to go ahead and start boiling the water to get the eggs ready to hard boil for her. And yes, she literally sits here all day. I'm going to cut up the carrots. I'm just chopping them up bite-sized for her. And one good thing about doing fresh food is I can snack on this while I'm cooking and I can share with her as well. Bonus. And now that the water is boiling and the rice is cooking, I'm going to continue the carrots. I generally do 3 to 4 large carrots and I shred them up, but I'm doing it a little different this time. I'm going to pull the eggs out so they can cool, and I'm going to start on the spinach. I go through and cut all of the stems off, and if they have a thick little spine down them, I will cut that out as well. If there's anything that looks nasty that I want to eat, I pull out. Basically, I cut it the way that I would do if I'm making it for myself, and then I just get a handful at a time and then I just shred them up, and I go through and put a bag of each spinach for each recipe, 1 bag each. I then use 4 zucchini and 4 squash, 2 for each recipe, and I shred it up. Sometimes I do use a food processor to do that. It just cuts the time down. Now I'm going to go ahead and toss all of the vegetables in one pot. And now I can start cooking the beef. Keep in mind when cooking for dogs, you want to cook it well done. Basically, cook it longer than you would cook it for yourself. Once this is all browned, I'm going to go ahead and put it over in a strainer to get it to start straining. And then I wash the pan and start the turkey. Now that the eggs are cooled, I can go ahead and start cutting those up. I only ended up using 2 per recipe. My man ate the other 2. When using a bigger batch, I will use 3 and I will have more meat and more vegetables. It just makes more days. It's just easier for me. But for this one here, I'm going to go ahead and start mixing in the meat to the vegetables, adding in a little bit of rice and some olive oil. I ended up using a couple tablespoons of olive oil throughout the whole recipe. While the vegetables cook, it will start slowly going down in the pan, so I use a little bit of rice at a time to start mixing everything together. You just want to give it a really good mix until everything is thoroughly heated and the vegetables are wilted. Now I put everything in a bowl, set it aside. I normally run my ceiling fan to cool it down more. I wash the pan and start my second recipe. Throwing all of the ingredients in, and now the turkey, that is all done and dried and drained, and doing the same thing, mixing everything up, adding the rice, and yes, she's still sitting here until this is done, adding some more olive oil, and then I will set this aside to start cooling down. Now that the beef mixture is completely cooled, I'm going to go ahead and start bagging it. I know basically how many calories is in here and how many she should have per day. So for her, she should have 450 ounces of food twice a day. So I go ahead and just weigh everything out. As long as it's between 450 and 460, I'm good. I'm not too particular because 1 pea literally can be like 0.5. Like, so I go ahead and bag up everything. Once everything is done, this is how it looks. You see all of the ingredients. I write what meat it is, and then I group them in bundles of 6 each. So that's 3 days. So I can kind of mix everything up and have her eat different things. So it's not the same boring thing every day. I like her to have like 3 different meats at a time. And I did this exact same thing with the turkey as well. And here is the final outcome, and this is what it looks like when I feed her. You see all of the ingredients, simple, easy, and it's actually really good. And there we have a happy girl who dances for her food twice a day. I will go ahead and put in the description box the exact recipe that I used. I will also link the vacuum sealer machine, the bags, and the vitamins in the description box as well if you wanted to check those out.
There's nothing left.
So that is it. It is super easy. Just keep in mind no seasoning whatsoever, just bland for the fur babies, and you can make their food simple and easy just like that. All right, you guys, so that is how I make her stovetop recipe. Again, you can change the meat, you can change the ingredients, you can change the vegetables, you can add more, you can take some out, just depends on what your dog likes. And yeah. Okay, so I wanted to kind of just sit down and tell you the differences that we have seen since we've switched her over to me actually making her food. So going back to the beginning, she was getting, like when I first moved to Florida, she was just getting bagged, you know, kibble, dry dog food. But I would go to the actual pet store and purchase it. And I mean, it wasn't cheap. I made sure that I was getting stuff that didn't have like corn within the first so many ingredients. And I was doing, you know, small breed, small whatever, just so she would eat it. And she was always really, really picky. Like towards the end, she wanted water in it or else she wouldn't eat it. She would just look at it and just look back up at you. And you added a little bit of water and then she would eat it. It wouldn't even get like soggy or anything. It just, she wanted water in there for some reason. So then I saw that there was the dog subscriptions where they were making the food and sending it, and I chose one specifically for her to do because it had individual packages. It wasn't one big one and you had to like break it up and store it for the day. It was just simpler. It was just pre-done for what she was supposed to have. So I'm at the mercy of somebody else cooking her food at this point, and I'm hoping this is all good. She's getting everything that she's supposed to be getting. My faith is in somebody else. And she actually liked the food in the beginning. I think that when she was doing for almost like a year, she had it for a while. She really liked it, but throughout that course, I noticed like her hair was just feeling a lot dry and it just felt like coarse and dry and like brittle. No matter what shampoo or conditioner or even leave-in conditioner that I was using, it just seemed like her texture changed. Her breath smelled horrible. And when I say horrible, I mean horrible. If I had to take her to the vet, because there was a few times I had told you guys like there was little issues going on, I had to take her to the vet. So I'm in the room waiting. I have my mask on. She's panting because she's freaking out because we're in the vet. But her doing that and her breath coming out, I could barely even like stand sitting there breathing. I'm like, you are stinking up this entire room. Like, stop. But she wouldn't just close her mouth because, you know, she's over exaggerating and she's making things worse for herself. But her breath was so bad and it just smelled like a rotten fish smell. Well, as soon as I started doing her food, that went away within, I think, the first 2 days of her eating my food. That smell completely went away and her hair now feels so soft. I think it's because of the olive oil, to be honest. And then I looked back at her other packages of her food and there was fish oil in there. So I don't know if there was like rotten fish oil going on in there or if that fish oil is what made her breath smell so bad like rotten fish. I'm not quite sure, but it was horrible. And now you don't smell a thing at all. And I've been feeding this to her for months now myself. I've been doing it for several months. Again, I wanted to wait and make sure she wasn't going to have any issues. She wasn't going to stop eating it after a while or, you know, start to get picky. Oh no, she's just becoming more hooked on it. It's like, I don't put crack in it, I swear. But she acts like she like really, like that's like really all she cares about during the day is eating, and it's just hilarious. But I love making it myself because I know it's all fresh ingredients. I go to the store in the morning, I pick everything out, I go and I make it all for her, so I know it's fresh. I'm vacuum sealing it, freezing it. I know my kitchen's clean. I know where it's coming from. So I just like doing it myself. But going back to the other story, she started getting, like, for one, she was getting overweight. A few times with the other company, they would send portions that were not correct. There was some that were like half the amount that she was supposed to eat was in one, and it's like, what am I going to be starving her? So there was times like because it was supposed to be weighed out by a quantity of the weight, and they weren't doing that. It was all over the place by several ounces or whatever they were. I don't know. I think they were ounces. I think they're weighed by ounces or grams, whichever it was. It would be literally like half. She's supposed to have this much and they're sending only like this much. So again, I'm relying on somebody else because what am I supposed to do? I don't know what this is. I don't know how to cook it to like help her balance that out. So it's just really hard to rely on somebody else, especially when she can't talk to tell me what's going on, if she likes it, if she doesn't. Her stomach started, like, it felt like it was blowing up. Like, imagine an actual basketball in there. Like, it felt like it was so swollen and hard. It wasn't like a squishy ball. It was just like a huge, like, mound. And every time I was taking her to the vet, I would ask them, I'm like, oh no, she's fine. I'm like, but it feels like a balloon has been inflated inside of her. Like, I hold my dog every single day. She comes to work with me, so I pick her up and I put her in my car. I take her to work. Like, I'm holding her every single day. So I feel A, she was getting heavier. B, her stomach was getting just so bloated, and I was getting worried for her. But again, there's nothing that I can do because she can't talk. And if I'm having them look at her and they're telling me she's fine and I know she's not. So I think that all had to do with her food, because she started like getting a lot of like bumps, and even her bump that she does have on her side has gone down. Other bumps have gone away. She's not developing all of that like she was before. Her stomach doesn't feel like it's all inflamed and just a huge just ball that just doesn't go down, just completely bloated all the time. She doesn't feel like that anymore. It's just, I've seen a huge improvement in everything, from her breath to her appetite to her skin coat to her gums even look better. Her energy is up. Just everything about her is just so much better. And I feel that I'm definitely putting more time to her life by doing this, because again, I don't know what was going on before, but I know what's going on now, and I know I see all the huge benefits. No hidden anything, just fresh food. Like, you can literally just eat it yourself. It's completely fine. And when I do cook it, it's funny because I'll take a bite and she looks at me like, because she knows it's her food. She'll sit there all day waiting. Like, I start from morning, and at the very end when I'm freezing it could be midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. She's still sitting there waiting. Like, she knows I'm cooking her food and she waits all day long. She loves this food. So I'm just so happy that, oh, and back to the other food. I keep jumping all over the place. I'm so sorry. She just stopped eating it. After all of these problems were going on, she just would look at the food and she wouldn't eat it. She did this for a few days, and I'm like, I need her to eat something. So I started going online, and I was going through all these recipes that were vet approved, this and that. I've even taken her to the vet afterwards, told them everything that's going on, and she's perfectly fine. She's healthy. She's good. So her stop eating that was the best thing, because then it pushed me to figure out, oh my gosh, it's really that simple. It's that simple. I go to the grocery store, buy the ingredients, cook it, and she can eat it. It's literally that simple. I just thought it was going to be a lot harder. I don't know why, but I just thought it was a lot harder to make dog food, and it's not. It is not at all. So I can't say it enough how much this has improved her life 1,020% by switching over to actual complete fresh food. And my only regret is that I didn't do it sooner, but I didn't know. So there's that. So I just wanted to, again, just go over a few things and telling you what we have completely noticed, a huge drastic change. So I wanted you guys to know that. So thanks for watching. So you guys, comment down below. Let me know, what did you think of the recipe? She's loving it, so I don't have to ask her. I already know she's absolutely loving her food. That's like her favorite time of day is to eat. So you guys comment down below. Let me know what you thought about it. Your positive interaction means the world, and I greatly do appreciate it, as I greatly appreciate every single one of you. So until next time, you know that drill. Keep a smile on that gorgeous face of yours, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye. Crafty crew, out.